Feminism seems to be the default in the Western world. This trend can be seen in deep cultural values and historical patterns that carry the traits and characteristics of women to a dominant position. In Western societies, if you are a man, you have access to certain expectations and training. From a young age, you are conditioned to adopt certain beliefs and behaviors associated with these cultural norms. Cultural narratives often place women on a pedestal and portray them as symbols of goodness, beauty, and moral authority. As a man, you must follow these principles and display manners and attitudes that reflect this respect. This socialization process is strong and pervasive and permeates many aspects of life. From media representations and educational programs to family expectations and social interactions. If you deviate from these recommended procedures, the consequences will be dire. Disparities can lead to social marginalization, limited opportunities, or unemployment. The pressure to adhere to these traditional values is significant, and failure to adhere to them can harm your position both personally and professionally. This idea is embedded, not for admiration, but in many ways idolatry. The religion of women in this context can be expressed by placing their needs, desires, and values above men. This dynamic can affect everything from human relationships to social structures and reinforces a hierarchical view where female characteristics are best and male characteristics are preferred. Moreover, this cultural phenomenon is deeply rooted and capable of change. From childhood, the influence of family, education, and media channels constantly reinforces the idea that respect for women is not a social expectation, but a moral imperative. As a result, men learn to navigate their roles within this framework and change behaviors and attitudes to fit these cultural norms. Therefore, the traditional ideology that values women becomes an important concept of human identity and work. This means that men do not follow social norms, but actively participate in maintaining a system that values women in ways that affect many aspects of life. This respect is not limited to personal interactions, but extends to the structure and functioning of social systems, such as workplaces and educational institutions. In fact, respect for women in the Western world is woven into culture and expectations. A person's upbringing determines the opportunities they are given and their role in the wider social structure. Understanding these dynamics is essential to understanding the broader implications of creating and maintaining gender roles in contemporary Western societies. This reverence can be understood as a worship of creation. As a result, beauty and merit are associated with women. Men can worship women, make them sad and motivated to make sacrifices for them. This biological drive encourages people to change their environment and leads to advancements such as platforms, bridges, and other works. The desire to create a world that is acceptable for women and to have influence in the group is a great motivation for men. But women's desire to compete with men and enjoy their achievements sometimes leads them to celebrate and create a culture of weaknesses. This shift in values leads to valuing women at a level of respect that may not be fully warranted and creates a false sense of equality. When society builds itself, it leads to men who value women and women's qualities, and women who want to strengthen their social status can be inadvertently promote the good from their weaknesses. This cultural change has many consequences. For example, when educational institutions decide not to frustrate students and avoid rigorous academic standards, they create a system that is corrupt. If students are taught to fail to meet expectations, they may lose the skills needed for careers such as medicine, law, or engineering. This system, which pays less effort and promotes the idea of equality of ability regardless of the actual work, can produce graduates who are not well prepared for their work. Some would call this discussion an analysis of social rather than personal issues. However, it affects everyone in this social framework. Like fish in water, we are immersed in a culture where these values are strong. For example, if women are more involved in jobs that men hold, and if this focuses on managing emotions rather than achieving goals, the social implications are greater. Imagine a team of engineers working on a rocket to Mars. If there are more women than men in positions that shift the focus from mission to emotional thinking, the success of the program may be compromised. At the societal level, this becomes a general trend where focusing on similar outcomes rather than recognizing individual strengths can lower standards. This religion of women and its relationship to equality is a weak point in religion. This creates a social structure that can compensate for inequality and reduce the conditions that produce optimal performance. Nature does not work according to these principles of energy balance. In the natural world, strength and power determine survival. In the global framework, humans have created a society that controls the environment and promotes human activity. As a result, we may be worshiping unnecessary desires, entertainment, and greed instead of focusing on overcoming real problems. This change of values, where pleasure and comfort are the first priority over problems, contributes to the weakness of society. Finally, the worship of women and the glorification of weakness represent a potential path to decline. This social situation, even if it is based on respect and genuine admiration for women, risks creating inequalities that can undermine the strength and resilience that is essential to the progress of the individual. Just in history, when societies prioritize certain attributes or ideals to the extent that they overshadow others, it can lead to unintended consequences that affect the overall health and functionality of the social structure. The glorification of perceived feminine qualities and the consequent diminishment of traditionally valued masculine attributes, such as resilience, assertiveness, and ambition, can lead to a skewed societal framework. If the focus shifts excessively towards accommodating and elevating one set of traits at the expense of another, it can result in a less dynamic and adaptive society. This imbalance might not only stifle innovation and progress, but also create environments where the essential qualities needed for overcoming challenges are undervalued or neglected. In practice, this means that societal institutions, such as educational systems, workplaces, and governance structures, may begin to reflect and reinforce these imbalances. For instance, if educational systems increasingly prioritize emotional well-being over academic rigor, this could lead to a generation of individuals who are less equipped to handle complex problems or rigorous demands. Similarly, in the workplace, if there is an overemphasis on ensuring that everyone's feelings are accommodated at the expense of performance standards, it might result in decreased productivity and effectiveness. Moreover, this trend can contribute to a cultural climate where critical thinking and hard-earned skills are undervalued. If societal values shift to prioritize emotional sensitivity and inclusiveness above merit and achievement, it can create a feedback loop where mediocrity is inadvertently rewarded and excellence is diminished. This could result in a gradual erosion of standards and a decline in the quality of work and innovation. Understanding these dynamics is critical to understanding the broader implications of cultural practices and their impact on the future world. We need a balanced approach to values that recognizes the importance of nurturing qualities and those that promote development and substance. By creating an environment that recognizes and values diversity, communities can ensure their growth and adaptability. In addition, managing this balance requires careful examination of how social norms and values are created and maintained. It requires reflection on gender roles, respect and admiration, and the ways in which cultural values influence individual and group success. Participating in this dialogue will help identify potential problems and develop strategies to create a better and more productive social framework. In the long run, the way to maintain a strong and resilient community is to understand and incorporate a wide range of attitudes and values. This includes emphasizing the positive qualities of women, but also supports the importance of masculine qualities that help overcome challenges and achieve excellence. By striving for greater understanding and value inclusion, communities can work towards a future that respects diverse contributions while remaining strong and progressive.